All right, let's dive into one of the oldest, heaviest questions humanity has ever dared to ask. And we're going to use one of the most intense, raw dialogues ever written as our map, the Book of Job.
So, this is the big one, right? The question that drives the whole story. It sounds so simple, but wow, it has haunted philosophers, theologians, and probably every single one of us at some point. Job's life is basically the stage where this brutal question gets played out.
So the story kicks off by making one thing crystal clear. Job isn't just a decent guy, he's the best. He's righteous, he's rich, he's got this perfect family. And then, poof, it's all gone. In a flash. This isn't some slow, sad decline. It's an absolute demolition. The story makes the contrast as sharp as possible, just to make that central question sting.
Then Job's friends show up. And, they've got it all figured out. For them, the universe is simple. It's transactional. God rewards good people and he punishes bad people. So if Job is suffering this badly, well, the math is easy. He must have done something truly awful. Everything fits in a neat little box.
But Job, he's not buying it. Not for a second. He knows he's innocent, and he demands a trial. He doesn't want theories. He wants a face-to-face meeting with God himself. Think about the guts this takes. He's basically demanding to take the creator of the universe to court. It's just an incredible act of desperation and faith.
And believe it or not, after 37 chapters of humans arguing back and forth, Job actually gets what he asks for. God speaks. But the answer, well, it's not the one anybody was expecting. It comes from a whirlwind, and it doesn't address Job's legal case at all. God doesn't offer an explanation, he offers a tour.
So yeah, instead of getting a lecture on the philosophy of suffering, God presents two living exhibits, Behemoth and Leviathan. He doesn't talk about his power, he puts it on display. He's about to completely flip the script by showing Job a corner of reality that is totally beyond human control.
Okay, so first on the tour is this creature, Behemoth. He's called the first of the works of God, and he seems to represent the raw, untamable power of the land itself, just this massive, primal beast.
And listen to this description. It's just wild. This is way beyond just a strong animal. We're talking bones like bronze pipes, legs like iron rods, a tail that swings like a giant cedar tree. And the question for Job is just hanging right there in the air. Job, can you handle this? You think you can tame this kind of power?
Okay, if you thought Behemoth was a big deal, just wait. Now we get to Leviathan, and this thing is terrifying. It's the monster of the deep, the embodiment of chaos. It's called the king over all proud creatures, and God spends a whole chapter describing it.
Its armor? It's basically indestructible. The scales are like rows of shields, locked together so tight not even a breath of air can get through. It's like they're welded shut. It's a natural fortress that makes any weapon look like a toy.
And this is where things go from giant monster to something else entirely. It's almost draconic. Its breath starts fires, and flames shoot out of its mouth. This isn't just an animal. It's a walking, swimming force of nature.
So, what about our weapons? Our best stuff? Yeah, it's a total joke. God runs down the list, and for Leviathan, our strongest iron is like a piece of straw. Bronze is like rotten wood. Arrows and spears, they just bounce off like dust. It's not just that our weapons don't work. Leviathan practically yawns at them.
And this right here is the whole point. God lays it out. No human is brave or foolish enough to even go pick a fight with this one creature. And then comes the knockout punch. If you can't even face one of my creations, who are you to stand before me and demand I explain myself? The scale of the universe just crashes down on Job's little courtroom drama.
You can just imagine this completely breaking Job's brain. He wanted a logical debate, and instead he gets a cosmic safari. He's shown a universe that is so much bigger, wilder, and more complex than he ever imagined. And what he says next, it's just incredible.
This is it, the big pivot. Job basically says, okay, my whole life I've heard about you. It was all secondhand information, but now I see you. Actually encountering the reality of God, even through these untamable creatures, just changes the whole game.
Now this is super important. What is Job actually sorry for? He's not saying, oh man, my friends were right, I must have some secret sin. No, he's repenting for his small-mindedness, for his arrogance and thinking he could put an infinite chaos-taming God into his little human-sized box of what's fair.
He's sorry for his presumption, not for a crime.
But you know, the story of this monster, Leviathan, it doesn't just stop there in the whirlwind. This powerful image of chaos and untamable power has had this whole other life, popping up in some really unexpected places throughout history.
It's a really wild ride. Check this out. It starts out in other ancient myths as this evil sea serpent that some hero god has to slay to create order. Then the Bible comes along and does something totally revolutionary. Leviathan isn't a rival to God, it's one of God's pets, basically, a showcase of his power. Much later in Christian tradition, it gets twisted into a demon representing envy, and then it makes a jump into political philosophy.
And that brings us to maybe its most famous appearance outside the Bible. In 1651, a philosopher named Thomas Hobbes used Leviathan as a metaphor for the perfect government, an all-powerful state. And the difference is fascinating, right? The biblical Leviathan shows how small humans are compared to God's power. But Hobbes's Leviathan is a power that we create, an artificial man, to save us from our own chaotic nature.
So, let's bring it all back to Job. Think about it. He never got his answer. The why was never explained. What he got was something else entirely. He got an encounter, an experience of a reality so vast, so powerful, it didn't erase his pain, but it put it in a totally new perspective. And that kinda leaves us with the same question, doesn't it? When we're in the whirlwind, what are we really looking for? An explanation or an encounter?